The sun sets over Coruscant, casting long, bloody shadows across the Chancellor's office. The traffic lanes outside the massive permaglass windows are a blur of endless light, a stark contrast to the suffocating stillness inside the room. Anakin Skywalker stands frozen. The words hang in the air, heavy and intoxicating. Learn to know the dark side of the Force, Anakin. I have the power to save the one you love. Palpatine doesn't move. He sits at his desk, his hands resting perfectly on the polished surface. He smiles, the warm, grandfatherly facade that has comforted Anakin for over a decade is entirely gone, replaced by the calculating, venomous gaze of Darth Sidious. He is waiting for Anakin's fear to take over. He is waiting for the boy he spent 13 years grooming, manipulating, and isolating to finally bow. He expects Anakin to ignite his blade, hesitate, and then lower it, bound by the rigid dogma of the Jedi, and the desperate, gnawing terror of losing Padmé. In our timeline, that is exactly what happened. Anakin turns his lightsaber off. He goes to the Council. He sets the fall of the Jedi and the rise of the Empire into motion. But here, in this timeline, the Force shifts. As Palpatine's yellow eyes bore into him, Anakin doesn't just think about Padmé's death. The mention of the dark side, the sheer arrogance of Palpatine's confession, triggers something else. A cascade of memories, previously disconnected, suddenly violently alive. He thinks about the war. He thinks about the clones who died in his arms on Geonosis, on Christophsis, on Umbar. He thinks about Ahsoka, framed for a bombing she didn't commit, abandoned by the Republic and the Jedi. He thinks about Fives, raving about chips in their heads, gunned down before he could speak the truth. He thinks about Count Dooku kneeling before him, the shock and betrayal in the Sith Lord's eyes when Palpatine ordered his execution. The realization hits Anakin with the force of a crashing star cruiser. Palpatine orchestrated it all. Every death, every battle, every moment of suffering over the last 3 years was a game played by the man sitting across from him. He didn't just want to save Padmé. He was the reason the galaxy was bleeding to death. The fear vanishes. It is burned away instantly by hot, blinding, absolute rage. It is not the cold, calculating dark side. It is the fury of a soldier who realizes his commander has been slaughtering his own men for sport. Anakin doesn't deactivate his blade. He steps forward. Palpatine's smile falters. The confidence in his eyes cracks for a fraction of a second. Anakin, if you strike me down. Anakin doesn't speak. He doesn't yell. He swings. Palpatine's hands come up, lightning crackling at his fingertips. A desperate reflex born of centuries of Sith survival instincts. But he is too slow, too arrogant, and entirely caught off guard by the sheer, unhesitating brutality of the Chosen One. He assumed Anakin was a slave to his attachments. He forgot that Anakin is, above all else, a warrior forged in the fires of a war Palpatine himself started. The blue blade arcs cleanly through the air, hissing violently as it cuts through flesh and bone. The lightning dies before it can fully spark. Palpatine's head hits the floor before his body slumps over the desk. The Supreme Chancellor of the Galactic Republic, the Dark Lord of the Sith, the architect of the Clone Wars, is dead. Anakin stands alone in the quiet office. The smell of ozone and seared meat fills the air. He breathes heavily, staring at the body. He reaches out with the Force, expecting to feel the suffocating shroud of the dark side wrap around him, claiming him for his anger. But the dark side is unraveled. The massive, invisible weight that has pressed down on Coruscant for over a decade shatters like glass, dissipating into the ether. 10 minutes later, the heavy doors to the Chancellor's office hiss open. Mace Windu, Kit Fisto, Asian Cola, and Zycie Teen stride in, their lightsabers ignited, their faces set in grim determination. They came expecting to fight the most dangerous being in the galaxy. They came prepared to die to save the Republic. Instead, they find Anakin Skywalker sitting on the floor in the center of the room, his lightsaber deactivated on the carpet beside him. He is staring blankly at the severed head of Sheev Palpatine. Windu stops dead in his tracks. The other masters freeze, their blades casting a surreal, multicolored glow over the grisly scene. Windu looks from the body to Anakin, his purple lightsaber humming aggressively. Skywalker, what have you done? He was Sidious, Anakin says, his voice hollow, devoid of its usual fire. He was the Sith Lord who played us, all of us, for years. Windu steps closer, his eyes locked on Palpatine's remains. He reaches out with the Force, searching for the deception, searching for the lie. He feels the absence of the dark shroud. He feels the truth in Anakin's words. But the rigid, unbending core of Mace Windu cannot process the reality of the room. He looks back at Anakin, his expression hardening into pure durasteel. You assassinated the Supreme Chancellor of the Republic without a trial. I ended the war, Anakin snaps, his head snapping up, the exhaustion in his eyes replaced by a sudden flare of defensive anger. He controlled the separatists. He controlled the Senate. He started the war. The trial would have been a joke. He controlled the courts. That was not your decision to make. Windu barks, his voice echoing off the high ceilings. You are a Jedi, not an executioner. You have murdered the leader of the free galaxy. Do you have any idea what you have just done? The optics are apocalyptic. The Republic's beloved leader, granted emergency powers by the Senate, is dead by a Jedi's hand, entirely extra-legally. There is no hollow recording of a confession. There is no Sith holocron on the desk. There is only a dead politician and a Jedi with a bloody sword. Windu orders Anakin arrested on the spot. Fisto and Kolar step forward, their faces tight with conflict. Anakin looks at them. He could fight. He could probably kill them all and walk out. But the adrenaline is gone, leaving only a hollow, crushing exhaustion. He doesn't fight back. He doesn't even stand up immediately. He lets them take his arms. He lets them take his lightsaber. The march back to the Jedi Temple is done in absolute secrecy. They use unmarked airspeeders, avoiding the main traffic lanes. When they arrive, Anakin is not taken to the council chambers. He is escorted deep into the bowels of the temple, to a high-security detention block that hasn't held a Jedi since the days of the Old Republic. Force suppression fields hum to life as the cell door slides shut, locking him in a stark, white, sterile room. The next morning, the holonet explodes. The Jedi Council, realizing they have to control the narrative before someone else does, releases an official broadcast to the entire galaxy. Mace Windu stands before the cameras, his face stoic and severe. He announces that Supreme Chancellor Palpatine was secretly a Sith Lord who had orchestrated the Clone Wars, and that he was killed by the Jedi, and he resisted arrest. No one outside the temple believes it. To the Senate, to the citizens of the Republic, to the billions of beings exhausted by years of war, poverty, and rationing, the Jedi statement sounds like the most brazen, desperate lie in galactic history. To them, it looks like exactly what it is. A violent, unconstitutional military coup by an order of religious zealots who decided they no longer wanted to take orders from civilians. In the massive Senate rotunda, chaos reigns. Maza Mijida. Palpatine's fiercely loyal vice chair takes the podium. He doesn't call for calm. He calls for justice. He screams into the microphone that the Jedi have committed high treason. He displays holographic images of the Chancellor's ruined office, of Palpatine's body. The Senate erupts in a deafening roar of outrage. Bail Organa and Padmé Amidala sit in their pods, watching the Republic tear itself apart. They know Anakin. Padmé knows the truth. But in the face of thousands of screaming senators demanding the blood of the Jedi Order, the truth is entirely irrelevant. Order 66 is never given. Palpatine died before he could transmit the code, and the inhibitor chips remain dormant in the minds of millions of clone troopers across the galaxy. But the absence of Order 66 does not mean peace. The Republic military fractures instantly. On front lines across the Outer Rim, clone commanders receive frantic, conflicting transmissions. From the Jedi Temple, they receive orders to hold their positions and await further instruction from their Jedi Generals. From the Senate building on Coruscant, they receive emergency directives from the newly formed provisional government, ordering them to detain all Jedi officers for suspected treason. On Mandalore, Captain Rex stands in a command tent, holding a holographic projector displaying Masame's face. Ameda is demanding the immediate arrest of Ahsoka Tano. Rex looks at the hologram, then looks out at Ahsoka, who is helping load wounded clones onto a gunship. The chip in his head is silent, but his conditioning, his loyalty to the Republic, wars with his loyalty to the people he has bled with. He cuts the transmission and crushes the projector under his boot. He chooses his general, but not all clones make that choice. On Maigita, Commander Bakar receives the Senate order and immediately marches his Galactic Marines toward Ki-Adi-Mundi's command post. On Felucia, Aayla Secura is surrounded by her own troops. Blasters raise, demanding her surrender. The Grand Army of the Republic turns its weapons on itself. The Jedi are no longer commanders. They are fugitives in their own camps. Back on Coruscant, the Jedi Council remains locked in a bitter, endless debate over Anakin's fate. Yoda paces the polished floors of the council chamber, his ears drooping, leaning heavily on his Geimer stick. Exile him, we must, Yoda argues. The dark side, he touched. The path of the Sith, he ended. But the path of the Jedi, he has forsaken. Mace Windu slams his fist on his armrest. Exile. He murdered the Chancellor. The Senate is voting right now to defund the military and launch a planetary blockade of the Temple. If we do not hand Skywalker over to the Senate courts to stand trial for treason, they will send the Coruscant Guard in here to take him by force. We are on the verge of open war with the Republic we swore to protect. Obi-Wan Kenobi sits in silence, staring at the center of the room. He had arrived back from Utapau just hours after the arrest, exhausted from killing General Grievous, only to find his entire world collapsed. He had gone to the detention block. He had looked through the energy shield at his brother, his former Padawan, sitting on a metal bench. Anakin had explained it all. He had explained the Sith plot, Dooku, the war. Obi-Wan knew Anakin was telling the truth. He felt the absence of the Sith. But Obi-Wan was a Jedi to his core. He could not look past the cold-blooded execution. You were the chosen one, Anakin. Obi-Wan had whispered, tears in his eyes. But not like this. Never like this. Before the council can reach a verdict, the decision is taken out of their hands. Padmé Amidala uses her highest level Senate clearance, bypassing the escalating security blockades, to enter the Jedi Temple. The Temple guards, distracted by the mobs gathering outside the ziggurat and the frantic communications coming from the front line. Let her through the lower levels. She makes her way to the detention block. She finds Anakin staring at the blank white wall of his cell. "Anakin," she whispers. The energy shield hums between them. He turns. His eyes are hollow, but when he sees her, a flicker of life returns. "I did it for you," he says, stepping up to the shield. "I killed him so he couldn't hurt you. He was going to use me. He was going to turn me into a monster." "You killed the Republic," she says softly, her voice trembling. Her hands rest on her pregnant stomach. "But you saved yourself." She tells him what is happening outside. She tells him that the Senate has officially declared the Jedi Order an enemy of the state. She tells him that the Coruscant Guard is mobilizing armored columns to march on the temple. She tells him that if he stays, the Jedi will hand him over to the Senate to be executed on a public broadcast to appease the masses, or he will be killed in the crossfire when the clones breach the gates. "I can't leave," Anakin says. "The Council has my lightsaber. The suppressors." "You don't need a lightsaber," a new voice says. From the shadows of the corridor steps Captain Rex. He has stripped his armor of its Republic insignias. He had smuggled himself onto Coruscant in a civilian freighter, following Ahsoka's frantic warnings. He approaches the control console of the holding cell. He doesn't ask questions. He doesn't care about the politics. He only knows that his general is in a cage. Rex bypasses the security grid with a slicer tool he lifted from the Coruscant underworld, and the energy shield drops. "We need to go, General," Rex says, tossing Anakin a heavy, drab civilian cloak. Now, they don't take a Republic cruiser. They don't go to the hangar bays where the Jedi starfighters are kept. They slip out through the temple's ancient catacombs, navigating the dark, forgotten tunnels that lead down into the Coruscant underworld. Above them, the sirens begin to wail. The Coruscant Guard has arrived at the temple steps. The standoff between the clones and the Jedi has begun. Anakin, Padmé, and Rex steal a battered, unregistered freighter from a lower-level smuggling dock. They break atmosphere just as the Senate defense fleet moves to blockade the planet. They jump to hyperspace, leaving the burning heart of the galaxy behind. The years that follow are a dark, chaotic age. Without Palpatine to control both sides of the board, the war spirals completely out of control. The separatist parliament on Raxus, realizing that both Count Dooku and their secret benefactor are dead, refuses to surrender. Hardline separatist commanders seize control of the droid armies, fracturing the Confederacy into dozens of brutal, independent warlord states. The Republic, utterly paralyzed by political infighting and the loss of its Chancellor, cannot maintain the war effort. The Jedi Order, besieged and hunted by the government they served, abandons Coruscant. They scatter to the hidden corners of the galaxy, returning to the ancient ways of the Order, surviving as wandering knights and hidden masters. It is a three-way galactic civil war of attrition, messy, bloody, and endless. But far away from the front lines, far from the Senate debates and the Jedi Council chambers, the Force is quiet. On the lush, secluded world of Naboo, tucked away in the Lake Country, where the war feels like a rumor, a man in simple civilian clothes sits on a stone balcony overlooking the water. The sun is setting, painting the sky in vibrant strokes of purple and gold. A small boy with blonde hair and a little girl with fierce dark eyes are chasing each other through the tall grass, their laughter echoing in the evening air. Anakin Skywalker watches his children. He has no lightsaber at his belt. He commands no legions. He is no longer a hero of the Republic, and he is no longer the chosen one meant to bring balance by the sword. He is a man who broke the galaxy to save his soul. Padmé walks out onto the balcony, carrying 2 cups of tea. She sets them down and rests her hand on his shoulder. Anakin leans into her touch. He looks out at the sunset, feeling the gentle hum of the living force around him, in the water, in the grass, in the bright, shining signatures of his twins. He feels something he never would have felt in the dark armor of Darth Vader. He feels something the Jedi Order could never teach him. Peace. The Force works in mysterious ways. But what if it worked differently? Like, share, and subscribe if you want to join us on our journey across the stars and beyond the outer rim. May the Force be with you.